Welcome to Drinkin Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Welcome to Drinkin Bros podcast, kids. We moved the entire media company to Austin, Texas, about 4 or 5 months ago. Ross Patterson Revolution, the American Party, Drinkin Broettes, Drinkin Bros Sports, and of course, Drinkin Bros podcast. 16 million listeners. 16 million listeners have asked us the exact same question every single day since we moved here. When are you going to have the actual mayor of Austin on the show, Mr. Matthew McConaughey? He's here today. We have Mr. McConaughey on the show. Thank you, sir.
Here, yes, indeed. And just for future reference, because my mom always tells me to say it, it's McConaughey. It rhymes with what would Madonna say? Yeah, good to be here, man. How we doing?
Good.
We're doing great.
Living the dream,
We're doing all things Austin today. We're drinking your whiskey. We're drinking the Long Branch, which is fantastic. Are you drinking some today right now?
I am sipping some right here, starting on the rocks, with a couple of rocks.
Cheers. We'll go straight out of the bottle here for you.
I'm drinking out of a Yeti.
Are you looking
at
Austin?
It's very Austin as well. Their headquarters is right over there.
They sure are.
Not only is it Austin, but it's also the sponsor of your new soccer team. Your buddy Chris Quinn was on the show 2 days ago from Austin FC. You're a co-owner in that.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's getting fired up here.
Exciting times. Can you feel it? Can you feel it around town?
Yeah, I mean it's like Vegas before the Golden Knights showed up. Everybody's been wanting professional sports here for so fucking long. Finally, it's coming here.
It's perfect timing, perfect city for it, perfect moment, perfect game for the city at this time. Yeah, it's and perfect. I mean, that's the game of soccer in the U.S. is on the come as well, you know. And then we got the World Cup coming here in a few years, which is we're going to be the front porch hosting them. The North America is, so a lot of things are aligning. It's a very exciting time with Austin FC. We've been working on some really cool ads. I don't know if y'all have seen them that we put out with our drum beat.
Yeah. Chris showed us one the other day. Yeah, that's the one. It's got to be Wolf of Wall Street bumping the chest. Humming. You should come on. We got to remake that and make that. It's even
the band plays it at the UT games.
Not only UT bands play it, other bands and other colleges, but UT started it like 2 years ago. Horn section.
Yeah.
When it comes on, everybody knows.
Right. If anybody had any doubts or reservations about whether or not Matthew McConaughey was a Longhorns football fan, I think becoming a teacher for the fall semester so you could sit in the student section, probably a pretty good flex, right? I mean, that's a good one.
That's a dream come true. How did you finesse that?
Wait, finesse what?
The teaching at your own school, so you could just stay for fall quarter and watch all your football games.
Right? Well, so I had the idea for the class 10 years ago. It's called Script to Screen. Because I've gone to make, movies. How different is the final product from the original script?
Right.
Yeah.
Massively. Sometimes your part grows, sometimes your part disappears, sometimes major scenes are gone. What you originally first loved about in the first script, it maybe does make the final cut, maybe it doesn't. So we take students, serious film students, through that journey. Here's the first script, here's the second, third, fourth shooting script, first assembly, then we show them the movie. And so they're going, whoa, you're giving me the magic behind the science of movie making. I had no idea it could take this many twists and turns for budgetary reasons or creative reasons or what have you. And so it's the class I wish I would have been offered when I was in film school at UT. So worked up a curriculum with some faculty over there and the dean, and got the class going. And that's what we got.
Yeah, it's funny.
But during fall quarter, during the football season is when it started.
That was just a coincidence
about the timing.
Total coincidence. Come on, man.
Hey, man, I love a good parlay.
It's funny you say that, because I think it was yesterday or the day before, we were talking to somebody about the film industry and how first assembly versus colorized and sound edited makes, if you're a script writer and you see first assembly, like, oh, this is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know what to expect there, it looks terrible.
First assemblies you better put on your seatbelt.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone that saw first assembly. It was like, all right. I've seen first assemblies and gone out in the parking lot and thrown up in movies I've been in.
Oh, I'm sure.
and then saw the final. I was like, oh, how'd they do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens all the time. And it's like, you know, they're usually 3.5 hours long. I can't even imagine. You were in Amistad. I can't even imagine how long that was.
It was
that
2
like
weeks.
Yeah,
two straight weeks.
Was that a two-week cut of Amistad, the first assembly of that movie?
What was the final one?
I didn't see that first assembly. I don't know how long that was. You know, Ed TV, I remember Ron Howard saying his first assembly was 4.5 hours.
Ooh, my God,
Good
man.
Lord.
I couldn't do it.
And then he had to go, okay, which story do I want to tell? I have many different movies here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one. We just love the fact that the city, by the way, of Austin has embraced you everywhere we go. I bought a house here, and there's a local brewery called Twisted X by my house. And they've got the McConaughey's beer here with a little hook 'em horn sign on it. Local brewery, yeah. And they love you guys. The soccer team obviously, loves you. I feel like everywhere we go, there is some McConaughey spin on this town. Why do you think they've embraced you as much as they have?
It goes back to the inception point is the all-time classic Dazed and Confused. I was at school at University of Texas. I'm living in Austin, obviously. I go to the right bar at the right time in the summer of 1992, meet the right guy, go in, read for a part, get the role, 3 lines turned into 3 weeks work. The character of Wooderson emerges. The movie shot by local guy, director Richard Linklater. It comes out. It sort of captured Austin. He had already made Slacker. Richard had made Slacker before that, which captured Austin. And then this classic, which became a cult classic and people, run on repeat now, Dazed Confused. That became a symbol of Austin and it was shot in Austin. And it had a feel and it was iconic in that way. And then Wooderson, the character I played, is an iconic, cool character. And some lines came out of that. And there I was the local guy. I was a guy who went to school there. I was in the guy who, as soon as I could, moved back from Hollywood, moved back there. And so then I moved back there. And then, I'm already of Austin. I'm myself in UT. I've been sort of for 25 years, me and Bevo have been the biggest mascots for UT, University of Texas, that there is. And then you come back in 99, I'm living there in Terrytown. I have a late night of banging on some bongos in my birthday suit and get arrested and heavily resist arrest and get one of the sort of coolest tickets from cops you could get, Yeah. What'd you go to jail for? I was naked banging my bongo, smoking weed. Okay, well, I framed that ticket. And then, the next day, instead of me getting out of jail the next day, instead of taking the private car ride quietly home, I went out and talked to the press and they got the joke. I got the joke. Next day, bongo naked t-shirts are all over Austin. That was sort of like another iconic character. There was Wooderson, there was that guy, and all of them were versions of me, And then, of continued support. Like I've said, I can live wherever I want, and I've chosen Austin. I also rushed to get back there as soon as I started a family. Austin's been good to me. I've been good to Austin. We have a good relationship. Austin is a place that's never needed proof that I'm there. Austin's a place that I go and someone comes up, oh my God, can I get a picture? I'm like, well, you're not from here. And like, no. I'm like, obviously. And then the doggone somebody at Whole Foods will walk over, a clerk will walk over and go, you don't need a picture. Just hang around. You'll see him in the next couple of weeks. He'll be back. You know what I mean? Austin's never really needed proof. And, what the great thing about Austin is the one rule, really, and we got to hold on to this, is just all you got to be is you.
Yeah, stay weird and be authentic, really.
Be authentic, really. Just be you. Austin will take in my brother, Pat's one who turned me on to Austin to come to University of Texas. And I, at the time, wanted to go to SMU in Dallas. And he called me and said, look, I know you want to go to SMU, but old business is tough right now. Dad doesn't have the money that's going to cost Cindy to SMU, but you want to go to Texas as well. Choose that. You'd be helping Dad out. I hemmed and hawed about it at the time. I'd never spent time in Austin. Well, my brother goes, man, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He goes, you walk into that town, he's telling me this at 18 years old. He goes, you can go in there and your flip flops, what happened? You can go to a bar. You're going to have a sheriff to your left, a Native American Indian to your right, a hippie on one side, a cowboy on the other, a lesbian and a blue-haired dwarf on the other, and everyone's getting along, man.
Right. Yeah, that's to me what it means when they say stay weird in Austin. You don't see people like riding unicycles down the street and dumb shit like that. It's not it's not weird like that. It's weird like just do whatever you're gonna do and it's fine.
Yeah,
that's pretty much
you're
it.
Right.
It's a great place to live, right? I mean, that's kind of what America's supposed to fucking be in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm with you on the the Keep Austin Weird started to protect small businesses and it got adopted, and it's been a cool banner to go forward with. Some people, though, take it to mean, well, let's be eccentric for eccentricity's sake, woohoo. And I'm like, well, no, what the fuck's that mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. So be yourself is what I would say. It is more, and it is stay authentic. And we got a challenge upon us, guys, in our backyard. We look at you see us growing. Everyone's moving. And so, how do we challenge tech and say, hey, don't be turning here into why you left there? Hang on, you're here. Great. We love you here. But how are we going to work on what Austin works on is that nobody's too good and everybody's good enough. What Austin works on is it's a people place. We don't have Niagara Falls and Disneyland. No, we got people. We got vibe. We got a food. We got music. We got a way about it. So we're coming in tech can sometimes dehumanize people, devalue people. Well, let's challenge these tech companies. What can you do for our city? What's your tithe? What's your duty to help create more value in people in this town?
Right, exactly. Forget the jobs. I mean, look, jobs are obviously great. The economy is important, but if you're going to come here, you got to buy your way into this place.
Yeah, because look,
like, we're not begging you to come here. Yeah, you're begging to come here. These people are leaving in droves. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not what Austin can do for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because look, you got Tesla here, you got Oracle here, you got Facebook, Google's here now. People keep moving here. It seems like by the hour, somebody's moving a huge tech company here. I'm with you. Just don't bring here why you left there, as in California.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be a lot up to us who are already here. You know what I mean? Because we also can't be stuck in nostalgia of, I want it to just be the old hippie town it used to be. No, that day's gone, bros. We have turned the page. So we gotta move forward. But how do we curate who we are and keep our soul as we become a metropolis, so we don't look back in 15 years and go, who the fuck did we become?
Yeah. I want to bring up something interesting you said about starting in Dazing and Confused and being in the right place at the right time. I feel like you're a guy more than any who has always been at the right place and right time every single time in your career when it mattered. Even this book, Green Lights, which, by the way, is the best biography of the year. I can say that without bias because you're on the show. Dan and I are avid readers. I finished Obama's right before I read yours, actually. And yours was unflinchingly honest. And then the audiobook is on another planet. You're probably going to win a Grammy next year.
Yeah, who doesn't want to watch Matthew McConaughey or listen to him talk for fucking 7-8 hours, right? I mean, honestly, let's be real about it.
It's the best 6.5 hours of your life.
Yeah.
And
it's fun recording it. I got to play all the characters and shit.
It's amazing. Because I sold a book maybe 6 years ago, and I used you as an example in this meeting because they didn't want actors to read their books or anything at the time. And I said, what would you say, as Simon & Schuster, I said, what would you say if Matthew McConaughey was reading his book in here right now? And they go, what do you mean? And I was like, well, imagine if you're reading an excerpt of Green Lights like this and this and this and this. And they were like, I think that would be interesting, but I'm not sure how that would work. Because it used to be the British guy who read 90% of books, right? Cut to 6 years later, I get this book, I get the audio book, and I stayed up late. It was like at 12:01 when it came out. It was with my wife, and I just wanted to hear what my prediction was 6 years ago. Yeah. And right now,
you not know it was me reading it until you heard me read?
No, you never know. Because the
Right.
last one
Yeah, a lot of people do go that route of having somebody else do it. I don't know if they feel that the task is daunting or beneath them, or they don't see the importance in it. I'm sure there's a myriad of reasons why they don't do it, but I don't get it, man. I mean, it's your book, which means the audience is going to be warmest from a marketing perspective if you're the one delivering the information. That's how it works, right?
correct.
I think so, rather than having somebody. Yeah, I hear you. Look, man, the voice, the audio's always been important to me in movies. I remember I saw a certain movie I did 20 years ago, and I heard it in French, and I was like, that's the wrong guy. And I remember going to the agency going, I need to audition the voices of my German reader, my
right?
reader, my French reader, because boy, it's a different, a completely different feel. Where I was like, their attack is completely wrong. I know I'm saying this, they're saying the same words, but I need it to be as close to sounding like what my intention was. So reading this thing, my favorite read of the book, and obviously I've read the book because I've wrote it, but my favorite read was doing the audio version. And they said it was going to take 4 days. I knocked it out in 8 hours.
Holy shit.
Really?
You did it all in the first take?
I sat down and just nailed it, man. I mean, I don't even think I went back and did anything.
You recorded 6.5 hours of audio in 8 hours. That seems impossible.
Yeah, because Dan and I just
We've
did it
recorded
in
some,
July for the last book, and I thought for sure you had a director who was physically directing this performance, because the way you read it, it was like you starring in your own movie about your own life, but the inflections and the cadence and everything, I mean, it was incredible.
That's very Audie Murphy, by the way, to star as yourself in your own movie.
It's great.
Yeah.
Well, I was, I just directed myself on it. I had, I know the stories. Shit, I lived them. I wrote them. So I knew when the next character was coming or what the punchline was in the story and when to hold off and give some punch. The biggest challenge was, how do I could read the narrative as one straight thing, but coming out of that and going prescribe, bumper sticker. So I was thinking like, be the guy at the game with the hot dogs and popcorn and Coke, and just you finish the narrative and then pop in with a cold bit,
Yeah,
with a prescribed bumper sticker or a poem or something. It was a fun read, but yeah, I did it in 8 hours.
Wow.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because again, like 6 years ago in Simon & Schuster, I said, look, this would be the most interesting thing of all time. I could not wait to get it. And it didn't disappoint. I mean, for real, this is the best audiobook of the year. You will win a Grammy for this. I can promise you that. I don't know how somebody's going to beat this performance.
Well, I hope you're right. That'd be cool. It was good, fun to read.
Yeah, man. Speaking of which, a lot of this came from your own journals. And what made you start writing journals in the first place? Typically, that's like an 8th grade girl type of thing, pining over lost loved ones. Yeah. What made you start writing journals?
That same 8th grade girl shit. Why did Gretchen die? Why did Gretchen break up with me? Why I got all these pimples on my face? All this. That's that same thing. But I continued to write then about. I remember this. I remember going to movies in like junior high school, and I would laugh at something in the movie when nobody else in the theater laughed. And then the thing that everyone laughed at in the theater, I was like, I didn't think that was funny. And I remember going, oh, am I weird here? Am I supposed to laugh at that time? And I remember going, I'm going to go write about that. And I would, sit there and cry in a movie regarding Henry or something. And other people go like, oh, what? And I was like, oh, that movie rocked me. And they're like, what? And I'm like, so I started to notice there were just particular things that I felt differently about. Right. And so I was like, well, I'm going to write about this because I don't know if I should change my ways or if I'm weird or maybe both are true. But I started to go, oh, okay. No, tried to find consistencies in how maybe I had original reactions. So I continued to write about those. And then a lot of adventures. I would come home and just jot down at night a little bit about what happened. And then slowly, when I found time later in life, I'd deconstruct that story and add more to it. So I went to the journals/diaries early because like everyone goes to them. That 8th grade girl is lost, lonely, trying to figure shit out, doesn't have the answers, asking a lot of why. But I continued to write in them when I felt like I did have the answers. meaning when I was on my frequency, when I felt like I was catching green lights. I remember time in college, man. I had a job at the catfish station. I had $45 in my back pocket, man. I was making my grades. I had a girlfriend, my golf, I had a 4 handicap. I mean, I was rolling. And I was like, you better keep writing in your journal now. Because that's the times when you don't want to write. You're like, no, I got this.
Yeah.
Right? Why do I need to write? I don't need to take time to be introspective. So I wrote things down then. And my hunch was, like yours 6 years ago, is that you're going to get off frequency again, McConaughey. You're going to get in a rut. So maybe it'd be nice to look back at these times when you were dissecting your success and go, oh, there were some habits I had there, who I was hanging out with, what I was doing, how I was greeting the day, what I was eating, what I was drinking, how much sleep I was getting, et cetera, et cetera. You can look back at times of success, and those habits may be able to help you recalibrate, and they did help me recalibrate and get back on frequency when I was off.
Yeah, it's good. You say that you experience those awkward moments, if you want to call it awkward, and think that maybe you're feeling different things or feeling differently about things. But I think the human condition is such that the chances are greater that you were just paying more attention to what you were feeling. And other people either didn't understand what was going on or how it was affecting them, or they were embarrassed or felt awkward about expressing that in public. That's probably more of that, right? Because I feel like that's a big problem for all of us, that we keep so much close to the vest these days. And we've been taught that saying things that are either controversial or out of order or awkward or whatever is a social faux pas somehow. I personally think that bad ideas don't get exposed in a vacuum. They get exposed when we put them out there. And that isn't just political ideas or science or any of that stuff. It's sociology, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we all have to understand where everybody else is coming from. If we don't, we're never going to be able to fucking talk to each other ever. And this stuff is going to continue to roll downhill.
Okay, man, I'm with you. I hear you. And then, right, where's art in all this? Where's context? Where's poetry? Where's contradiction? Where's
how about
paradox?
a little nuance? Just a little bit of nuance, maybe just a little bit.
Just a touch, or we're so much on the word, but the intent is what's momentous. You know what I mean? A word usually is a formation of letters in an alphabet. It's a freaking word. But what's the intent behind certain things? And when can we go, oh, I didn't actually, what I intended I thought it would land differently. Oh, excuse me.
Exactly.
I didn't mean that. That isn't what I meant. But it's like writing emails, text. God bless the emoji. Because if I didn't put a wink behind that thing I said, you might not know I was kidding. It's like,
right.
You know what I mean? But it's true. In some circumstances, it's true, because I may be sitting here sipping on Long Branch, chatting, shooting shit, and I'm going to fly something out to somebody whose dog just died. And they're not going to get my jest, right? Because they're having a bad day, or they're taking it as like, I can't believe he said that. You know what I mean? But I'm over here. So it's touchy, but I hear you. It needs a little room for context and nuance, for sure.
Yeah, one of the most important but least frequently asked questions in at least in our country is, what did you mean by that? That'll clear up a lot of shit. What do you mean by that? And actually listen when they respond to that question. You can stop most arguments before they even fucking happen if you just ask that question and then wait for the response.
Yeah.
But fuck it. Why not? Let's just fight each other. Shit.
Yeah, let's just fight each other, argue everything every day. That's what I was talking about, the right place at the right time for everything. Like, this book, to me, hit me at the right place at the right time. I feel like it's hitting America at the right place at the right time. I know it's a gigantic hit, but there's just so much positivity, and there's so much hope for the future from you about your family and everything else going forward. And there isn't enough content out there like this right now. Because of COVID, a lot of things are shut down, and there isn't a lot being made or seen or heard with the audiobook in particular. And I just think you absolutely knocked it out of the park at the right moment in time, because we're all stuck inside, and we don't really have anything to do. Therefore, it was just 6.5 hours of pure bliss of this thing.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that, man. I mean, the fun thing, the most rewarding thing for me, talking about the book, coming on shows, talking to people like yourself, is hearing how it personally translated differently to everybody, different people. So I'm talking about the same thing, but people are going, no, this part affected me. I saw myself in this story, or I'm going to rearrange something in my life that I didn't think about, or, oh, you reminded me of. So And as you know, I mean, with art, man, and it seemed to be odd when I realized this in writing the book, but now it's like obvious, like duh, which is the more personal you get, the more relatable something can become. Mm-hmm. To expose that, I can't see you if you don't see me. The I is the we. The we is the I. What's the human condition? A good performance, music, it exposes, oh, yeah, we're all in the same game together. Oh, we've all approached different details, but we've all approached similar circumstances and had similar red or yellow lights in our life. And how did we turn them green? Or how were they valuable? Maybe it was context. Maybe the way I saw them. Maybe it was perspective. Maybe I got it by hard work. Maybe I just got fucking lucky and did something with it. All the above. But hey, we're all in the same rodeo.
Yeah, we
are
trying
trying to get our 8 seconds.
We are, and it's one of those things with COVID. Dan and I talk about the death of celebrity because there wasn't anything out. You're one of the guys that is, again, right place, right time. You've seen it flourish. You didn't have an Instagram or any social media before this started, and then you start it, and your stories were incredible on Instagram. That becomes an overnight hit of you just talking about old movies you did leading up to this book, and then the response to the book online, you challenging people to read excerpts as yourself is really, really
that's
funny,
great.
Man.
That's great.
We've been dying laughing over it for the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Me too. There's been some good ones, man. I've been having fun with it, and as well. Like I said, it's people go, "Are you getting tired?" I'm like, nah, honestly, no, because it's a different conversation. Each time about similar subjects, but it's a different conversation with every individual or anybody I talk to.
Do you mind if I throw my hat in the ring for best read for green lights, Matthew?
Please.
You got to read an excerpt now?
I'll just read one at random here. Okay. Let's see. A few hours later, I returned to camp to pack for my continued journey. On arrival, my guide had called out to me in Spanish, "Soy Louis, Mateo, soy Louis," meaning, "You are light, Matthew. You are light."
I like your legato.
I don't know if I can. The Spanish is obviously off there, but how
you made it a little bit French. Soy Louis, and you turned it. Soy Luz. But hey, go with Louis, man. Louis, I haven't heard that version. I like the Louis.
You got to jazz it up.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do we got there? Who's the best impression you've ever heard of yourself?
Damon does a damn good one. Channing Tatum does a good one. Damon does a real good one. Yeah. My brothers call me like, "Have you heard Damon do the years ago when he did it? It's like, have you heard Damon? He damn nailed it."
It'd be funny if he just quit acting and just only did Matthew McConaughey impressions on Cameo. That's it. That's all he does now. Got Matt Damon.
I hope he does. Maybe he'll throw one in here and put one in this thing I got going on IG.
I'm sure he will.
He nails it, actually. And I remember him coming through someone else we'd worked with. And because I never commented on him doing the impressions, and like, "Hey, Matt was curious. Are you okay with him doing it?" I was like, "Yeah, shit, yeah." And he does a good one. If someone does a good one, I'm go for it, man.
Have you talked to him in person about it, Matt Damon, about it?
Yeah. And he does a good one. I told him I was absolutely cool with it. Yeah.
You know what? I've always been obsessed with you. I don't know why. I've always wanted to hear you as Jesus for some reason. I don't know. It's because you remind me of a modern day Jesus. You know what it is?
Dan's Dream is an animated cartoon series on Adult Swim where you are Jesus.
But living in
today's world. Yeah.
That's what I want to see. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So that way you're reading scripture to people just walking through the streets. A lot of wine, a lot of bread.
Yeah, but also, trying to convince people to be good and stuff and take care of each other as well. Obviously.
Yeah.
There's a solid element too, but also it's, look, we got to have some modern leaders here that are going to teach us how to behave like decent human beings, because most of the people we see in the public, whether it's, business people, celebrities, and politicians, oftentimes it goes off the rails a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Take care of each other is a pretty good thing, pretty easy thing to do. It seems like the fundamental part of civilization, to be honest.
Jesus said the most important thing in his teachings: love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right there, he makes a paradox of what we make a contradiction every day. That's saying be selfish, be more selfish. To be selfless actually is more selfish. Have a little context of delayed gratification. There is a place where the choice that's best for we is the best choice for me. There's a decision where the best choice for I, each of us individually, is the best choice for the most amount of people. Love your neighbor as yourself. It throws it right back on the I. And you all know, man, we don't do shit unless it's personal. We talk about it. We intellectualize about this would be a great thing to do. I agree. And we talk about leaders. If we get our leader, whatever leader we want to follow, if the one we want is going to be in the position of power, they get us up out of our chair and onto the edge of the porch. And as soon as they get in power, instead of going off the porch and becoming a soldier, what do? We go sit the fuck back down and go, whew, I'm glad. Well, at least I got my leader in a position. We're okay now, honey. Well, leaders can't do it for us. They can create the avenue and a direction, but it takes the army to go, I'm in, man. Let's break a sweat.
Yeah, soldiers win wars, by the way. That's a quote that every officer in the military should know.
Yeah, Dan was in the military. Killed hundreds of people.
No.
And we're lucky you're here today, Dan.
I'm lucky to have these Felix Gray glasses right here. The screen started giving me a headache.
I know. Is it old age? Are you getting how do you feel?
It's probably traumatic brain injury, to be honest, from getting blown the fuck up. But the blue light from these things is killing me. So I'm going to put these on for the rest of the show.
How long ago did you start wearing glasses?
I don't wear glasses. These are just Felix Gray. They're like blue light blocking glasses. So if you're looking at screens all day, these things are dope.
Because that's all we do. We're watching Zoom and everything else. We're just staring at these screens all day long.
They send us the information for it. Is like people are looking at screens, whether your phone, TV, or computer, 13 hours a day. It's fucked up.
13 now.
You know what I mean?
Because of COVID, yeah.
Yeah, it's like over half your day now.
You know what? That number ain't going to go down much, guys.
Hell no, it's not.
We're living in the future.
No.
And I got to say, in many ways, this remote, in many ways, preference.
Yeah.
The other morning, I'm talking to Italy. I'm Zooming in Italy at 8 a.m. for an hour. I'm Zooming in the UK at 9 a.m. I'm Zooming in New York at 10 and LA at 11. And at 11:59, when I hang up with LA, 30 seconds later, I'm having lunch with my kids live. I couldn't have been in all those places.
Right.
In that amount of time. It would have been physically impossible. 2, there was no travel. There was no green room, wait around. There was no hair and makeup. There was no this and that. Let's get it on. Press record. Let's go. Rock it. So there's some ways I'm going to go definitely re-engage in the physical person-to-person, embrace and being in the same place. But in many ways, I'm like, this is the future, man. I mean, more so now, you got 5G, live where you want.
Yeah. And it's that hair and makeup thing you said, that's really interesting to me these days, because people in the entertainment industry that have rested on their aesthetic laurels, that shit's pretty much over now, right?
It went out the window. I told you were the only one doing the Instagram.
Talent is going to rise to the top. I mean, let's get weird here. We all saw the Fast Times at Ridgemont High thing, where LaBeouf is just shit-faced. He is as high as any human being I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. But if he's that good at acting, I mean, we all know he's an amazing actor. Let's be real. But if he's that good, we should let's close it all down now, because he won. He won at acting. If he's that good, you know what I mean? Shit. I mean, Spicoli was a great character, but goddamn, did he fucking do better?
No one smokes more weed than Dan. So if there's a judge on smoking weed, it's definitely Dan.
I keep cards like at the Olympics.
Yeah.
In my car all the time. If I see somebody smoking on the side of the road, I'll just hold a card up. And it'll be 7 through 10 usually. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Are you rating them on? You're rating them on their what are you rating them on?
Everything. Right?
Like style, how they're handling, how they're holding the duty, etc.
Everything. How long they hold the weed in.
Yeah.
If they're also holding a brown paper bag. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look.
So what's a 10? What's a 10 plus in your?
A 10 is honestly probably that old grandma that rips those big dabs. Have you seen that shit on Instagram?
Yes.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. This lady's like 90 years old and she's smoking hash oil like it's going out of style, man. It's just like blown out. She's just, oh my God.
90 years old. She's crushing dabs. Like,
what's a dab?
It's like it's oil, right? It's extremely concentrated THC oil, basically. Yeah.
It's a different high. I mean,
it's wild. It's like the ayahuasca weed, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll get you out there.
Okay, so it's got a little bit of adds a few more dimensions.
Yeah. Look, Daniel send you something.
Let me ask you guys something since you're talking weed. So, look, man, I'm 51. I grew up where, it was called Mexican dirt weed. It was, and it rolled it up, and you got a joint, you passed it around, you giggled, you got munchies. But all of a sudden, I remember it taking a turn, man, where the subplots started to become unmanageable.
Yeah. It's like you can't just like go out to the you're in high school, you can't just go out to the playground and smoke a joint with your friends at lunch, because you'll come back in and everybody looks like they're out of their mind.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there like staring at the ceiling like, all right, you guys are obviously high, get the fuck out of here.
There's a certain point, you're right, where it's too much, man. I'm with you, where I'm like, I can't smoke that shit all day long and have a normal day.
Well, you just don't train for it. I've been training for years.
Training, is that it?
I've been training for years for this moment.
You have to get through the paranoia and stuff, and you come out the other side with the grip.
Well, I hire one of my buddies who's a drill sergeant. He goes full on uniform, campaign hat, the whole thing, and he's just screaming and knife handed at me while I'm just chiefing weed the whole time.
Yeah.
I did that for years, and now I'm fucking great. And people will say that maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm a tyrant, but it's because you ain't won nothing, right? That's what Jordan said. So.
Yeah, it's true. So he's smoking weed now. If you see the haze in the air right now, he's literally smoking. It's a ton.
It's good fun, man.
Something that I enjoy when I'm high, by the way, is looking at Dallas Buyers Club memes. Are you aware, like you're a big sports guy, are you aware of how many Dallas Buyers Club memes there are as far as sports teams?
I have no idea.
For real? Oh my God. Every team that
There's
starts off having a great year, they show you in like a Lincoln car commercial. And then it says, first game of the year, last game of the year. And then it's you in Dallas Buyers Club crying in that same car.
That's good. That's good.
The internet is undefeated, man. You crowdsource that much creativity, you're going to get excellence every single time. At some point, right?
I can't believe you've never seen those. Every single sports team has one.
No, never seen them. That's pretty clever, though. I like it.
Somebody, Matt Damon, if you're out there, go ahead and grab that meme and send it to him with the impression of him doing it, if you don't mind. That'll be him. He's not doing anything. He's got plenty of time.
Exactly. Speaking of sports, and we know you're a UT guy. I'm an Ohio State guy. I went to Ohio State. There was a rumor that Urban Meyer was possibly up for the head coaching gig, and that he turned it down. Were you happy or sad by that? And I know you're friends with Tom Herman in real life, so it's probably tough. But UT should be a powerhouse that competes for a national title every single year. That 2005 championship game was probably my favorite national title
Best
game.
reality TV ever.
Ever. Vince
Best
Young.
reality. You couldn't have written that script in Hollywood. You just said bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
couldn't happen that way.
Amazing.
And it did. That's one of the top. I'd say top. I don't know what others would be. Maybe it's one of the top 5 live events as far as drama goes. Ever. Look, I mean, that's the narrative around UT. You said you should be good for a national championship every year. Look, I don't know that actually, number one, that it's even true, and that we actually, I don't believe it's even true that we offered anything to Urban Meyer.
Really?
Probably not officially. I mean, if they still have Herman under contract, I don't think the league, or I don't think the conference allows them to make an offer like that. They may have floated something, but
yeah, because the buyout was like $15 million, and then there was a story in the Austintonian, which I didn't know was a thing, but there was a Zoom call, very similar to what we're on right now, where they examined what was going on in the background of Urban Meyer's Zoom call, and they claimed that he was at Horseshoe Bay in Austin, Texas, and that possibly he was entertaining the job. That story caught like wildfire on the internet, and then there was numbers thrown around. You're friends, though, with all these guys. Do you think that's any truth to that at all?
Look, I mean, it sure makes a good story. I mean, I love where it started.
Never let the facts get in the way of the story.
The background of the room, and there was a picture with a frame around it that looked like it was mesquite wood.
Yep, all these motherfucking.
He must have been in Texas.
These internet sleuths on Reddit and shit.
And there we go. And you're gonna get tracked. You're gonna get clicks on that for sure. Look, I'm never in my position with the University of Texas and with coaches. I've never chosen to hop into the lobbying for or against. I don't want that in position. I want to do everything I can in whatever way, whatever coach deems necessary or helpful to help them succeed. I don't have any interest in being in that position to push for somebody else or say, hey, this person ought to get fired. I want to do everything I can to go, this is our guy. Let's make this fucking work, man. Let's go. And then let those other people make that decision. Look, I tell you this, I think we have the greatest AD in the country in Chris Del Conte. He's a badass. And he's got a wonderfully, wonderfully tough job with expectations, but he looks the expectations in the eye. We're gonna see. We had a pretty good recruiting day. We held our water yesterday as far as recruits go, which every other single rival that is talking to a young man coming out of high school to come play football is telling you that's an unstable place to go. It's not so. You got to read between the chaff, but again, we know there's reality and there's perception, and perception can change a lot of people's choices. So right now, I'm saying I'm happy with where we are. I'm backing Tom Herman to do the best he can with what he's got and he's got a lot. And so I'm sitting there going, I want to help him do as much as he can to create excellence and get victories on the field, because you're not going to win a national championship every year. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. But we are in a hotbed state. And the other thing is a lot of out. You went to Ohio State, mm-hmm. You got studs all over your team from the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. It used to be, sort of Oklahoma and Texas. Alabama's got Texas boys across the board as well. So. And the other thing is you understand I think it's even tougher now because we basically opened up free agency in college sports. Well, I don't like it. I'm not getting enough playing time. I quit. I'm putting transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. I think it ultimately is a good thing, but geez, oh man, you don't get a necessary commitment to build like you could and have that security to do it like you used to. So that's a new challenge. Also, where's the rubber hit the road? Every one of these young men come into this situation at schools like Ohio State or Texas and believe that they're going to go play pro.
Right. Yeah.
Fact is, they're not. A very small percentage of them are. But that being said, that's the numbers that people want to look at. Well, wait, what college is putting what's the assembly line to the NFL, man?
Right. Joe Burrow is a good example of that, right? He figured it out. He started at Ohio State, figured out he wasn't going to play, went to LSU, had some injury problems at both places, but then ended up having probably the best year for a college quarterback in history.
Yeah, but I think that guy's a stud, man.
I want him to get an offensive line so he can stay healthy because I think he's going to be one of the best NFL quarterbacks of all time, to be honest.
You see his Heisman speech?
Yeah, he's got it up here where it matters. He's got it up here where it matters. I said that early in the season. I said that early in LSU season last year. Like, yeah, this guy's obviously very gifted and talented, but he came in less than 4 months and owned that fucking locker room. Yeah. Everybody reported to him. That was the end of it, right? That's how you know a guy's a fucking winner.
Yeah, and you were talking about his speech for Heisman. Obviously, we all knew it, right? So he had time to prepare and everything else like that. I feel like when you won the Oscar, I felt like we all knew it. We all knew that was going to happen. Did you prepare your speech kind of the same way of like, all right, I've won all the awards. I've swept the award season. I've got something in advance.
I did. Because I didn't want a coup de grace. Mm. And I was like, dude, if you write your speech, I'm always like, if someone wins something and they get up there and they pull out their piece of paper, I'm like, well, that's a little arrogant of you. Yeah. They pull out their paper and then read it like, oh, you wrote that in case. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna write it. I did know what I say, I think I wrote down, it's in the end of the book. I said, what I'm thankful for, what I look forward to, and one other thing. I had like 3 little short lines, and got up there, and who's my hero? Yeah,
Right,
thankful for, look forward to, and who's my hero? That's what I had written down. It's like if they call your name, talk about those things and try to do it in under 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, hey, you know, I can get up there, and I love to talk, so it could have gone longer. But yeah, that's all I had written down was those three little bullet points.
Yeah, I was always curious because, you know, obviously being in Hollywood and seeing this stuff for years, like there is years where it's just that person's time and they just sweep all of the awards. And it definitely was yours for that movie. And
yeah, and it was interesting you didn't give the same speech at every award show because we've heard that before too. I mean, obviously the Golden Globe speech is usually a little bit different because everybody's fucked up by the end of the night.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the speech was good. I thought people took that one the wrong way too, where you're talking about trying to be, or I guess, a role model or hero to yourself 5 years from now. And people
chasing my future, chasing my hero me in 10 years.
Yeah, like people
thought that was, again, didn't get the nuance in that. But I think it's obvious math if you just unpack it.
I agree with that.
Chase yourself in 10 years, and tomorrow doesn't mean you're one day closer. It just means you're a day older and your hero's 10 years away.
Right.
And that's back to what we were talking earlier when we were talking about leadership and, you know, who to trust. I mean, isn't that what we all, I think, in some capacity want to do? If you don't like the word chase your better self, then say chase your truer self, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But I find it useful, man, to project into our future a little bit. But to write a proverbial headline out there and then start trying to live in a story towards it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about the psychology behind it, though. I think that's what was most missed by people. What you said was essentially a more positive affirmation of the concept that we're not in competition with each other. We are in competition with ourselves to be the best version of ourselves that we could possibly be. That was completely lost on everybody that heard that speech. But to me, it like clicked to me. I'm like, I know exactly. Like, I could see how this might seem weird to some people to hear him saying this, but he's saying exactly what we all should be thinking, which is that I'm not in competition with you or you or you. This is about me and achieving the most I can. And like you said earlier, turning that individual liberty and success into something that benefits everybody. Mm-hmm. It'd be great if we started a country where it was founded on the idea of individual liberty and how that benefits everybody collectively. And then have a flag that might look something a little like that to be the fucking flag for it. We could look at it.
You know what? My hunch is on that is our common ground stepping stone that we can all individually make our own as well is values. My hunch is that we got to get reminded some things that our mamas taught us and say, hey, you know, we make contradictions out of, well, you can be responsible, or you can have freedom. No, it's not or. Responsibility gives you freedom. Look at our own lives every day. We make a decision today to tee ourselves up, to be cool to our future selves, to be kind to our future selves. We'd make decisions all the time to do that. But yeah, my hunch is that it's values, and it's not about coming to the table and saying, well, vote like I do, or go to my church. No, vote how you want to. Go to what church you want to, but let's have a social contract here that we can understand that if I just shook hands, we said we'd do the deal. I'm not going to pick your pocket. Can I trust that? Is that cool? Is that asking too much? I think most people go, no, I'll purchase that. I'd love to have that. It caused me a little less stress to maybe trust somebody else a little bit more, or the world I'm going into. We're in a great time of great distrust right now, man. We don't know. We don't trust others. You start not trusting yourself. You don't believe in others. You don't believe in yourself. You got these, and you're not taking those individual liberties you're talking about. You're actually disempowering yourself. And I think, again, that's where there's a place where choices, we got to understand, have a little bit longer view that there's a place where the choice that's best for you individually is also the best choice for the most amount of people.
Yeah, it's got to be, right? I mean, that's you can see that in game theory, things like Nash equilibrium theory and things like that, where, you know, not necessarily stepping over people to get what you want, but trying to be the best version of you can in the system that you exist in is probably the best for everybody, right? Like how do I give more to charity if I'm not making more money?
Yeah.
That's a good way to show that. Like, yeah, go out and be successful. So you can, if you really want to help other people, be fucking successful, because people will listen when you talk and you'll have the resources to make it happen.
Yeah. And that's like for you, those are pillars. You were successful. You made something out of yourself. You're able to come back to the community, Austin, all the time, which is, again, why you're so beloved here, where it's like, man, you've done a ton for this city.
Well, it's the village I choose to live in and raise my children in, man. I like, a minute feels like 60 seconds. A mile feels like a mile. I like that. I like the amount, maybe a higher amount of common sense, but you're still married with imagination. You're still married with, well, let's embrace what we want to say progress for, or say we should choose to say yes to and progress. But let's not say yes to everything, because then we wouldn't be about anything. So I like that Austin, even physically, is a college town with 50,000 students, young progressives wanting to change things and change the world. Across the street is the Capitol, this backbone, historically red. Things are going to move slow. Legislation. We're going to, how bad do you want it? And that push and pull in that spot in the middle of the Capitol and the university is a great example of where democracy works.
Yeah, it's true, man. Look, we know you have a million interviews to do here, but at the end, we would love to do some rapid fire with you, because you've been in some of the greatest movies of all time. Let's just do first and best.
What's your favorite Matthew McConaughey movie before we move on, though?
Well, obviously Dazing Confused.
Okay.
That hit when I was in college.
Right.
And it was one of those movies where I started to study about Hollywood and box offices and all that stuff. And I looked at it from a kind of a scientific numbers sort of game. And Dazing Confused bombed. It didn't do well in theaters. I think it only made like maybe $3 million. And it was only in my local theater in Georgia for a couple weeks. So I didn't catch it until years later in college. Every single person in every single dorm had that DVD, and they played it on repeat. I've probably seen it 150 times.
Yeah, probably.
And that's being selfish.
Yeah.
And that's where I started doing impressions of you and Cole Hauser.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was, I'd go back and, what are you talking about? Me, Benny, Mel? You'd be fucking over all of us, Pink, And then I would, obviously Wooderson, where I would come back.
Him in the Days Confused read-through that we just did?
Yes. Cole Hauser's the best, dude. He's turned into Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, his character in Yellowstone's great. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
You be fucking over everybody, Pink, me, Benny, Mel, all of us, man. Get your fucking shit together. And then you with, obviously the high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age. Well, like in college, that hit everybody like a freight train. So it was for me, right place, right time with that film. But for everybody else, everybody's got their own different favorites. What was your favorite memory from Dazing Confused? We'll start with that one.
Favorite memory. Well, look, that was my very first film. I didn't know I didn't know what acting was, but I had instincts for it. I was asking myself the right questions before ever taking an acting class, like who is my man before every scene? What do I want? That I still ask today, after 28 years and actually learning the craft and studying with teachers and stuff. So I had the instincts for it. Best lesson was this for me. I was in film school studying to be a director. And I remember thinking that as a director, this is before I did Days Confused, that, boy, I better have the answer to everything. And if I don't, I'm failing as a director. So I wouldn't even ask for help or have a conversation to let someone that might reveal that I didn't know what I was doing or didn't have a strong choice on something. I get on Days Confused. Richard Linklater's the director. I got 3 lines written. I end up working for 3 weeks. Characters are lobbing me lines in the middle of scenes that weren't even written, writing me into scenes. Richard Linklater's calling me back, going like, hey man, like, freshman's gonna get some beer, there's a party tonight. Wooderson's the only guy with a job. You got some change in your pocket. You think Wooderson would be a guy who might put some money, throw in the pot for some beer? I'm like, yeah, Wooderson would do that. Boom, shoot the scene. It's how the first scene I got in. I was not supposed to work that night. It was a makeup and wardrobe test. And Richard comes up and says, hey, Wooderson's kind of guy, he's been with typical hot chicks, right? Do you think he'd have interest in the redheaded intellectual? I'm like, oh yeah, Wooderson likes all kind of chicks. Marissa Rafisi is playing intellectual. She's in the car with her nerdy friends. Maybe Wooderson picks up and tries to pick her up. And I'm like, give me 30 minutes. And I took a walk with myself, asking that question. Who's my man? What do I love? What am I about? What's going on tonight? I said, it's cool. There's a party coming up. I'm down here. Maybe I speak a little Spanish. But next thing I know, man, I'm sitting here with the lavalier mic on, about to shoot the first scene of my career, and there's nothing written. And Marissa Ricci's character, Cynthia, is sitting over in that car, and then on action, all I know is I'm supposed to pull up and try and pick her up. So I start going over in my head. Who's my man? What am I about? In my head, I say, Wooderson's about his car. Well, fucking cool, man. I'm in my 70 Chevelle. There's one. I said, Wooderson's about getting high. I said, well, old Slater's riding shotgun. He's always got a doobie rolled up. So I said, I'm about rock and roll. And I said, well, shit, man, I got Nugent Stranglehold in the 8-track, man. There's 3. And then I hear, action. And I look up, it's Cynthia, the redhead intellectual over there. And I go, and Wooderson's about picking up chicks. I put it in drive, pulled out. And in my mind, I said, I got 3 out of 4 going to get the 4th. All right, all right, all right. First 3 words I ever said on screen. So the collaboration that I learned, the fact that if you just set up a scenario and if you know your man or your character or your woman, whatever it is, go be that. Be in that place, but also on that directing side, I came back was a much better director because I saw that, it is a collaboration. Richard Linklater never said the word N-O, no matter what. He would direct you by playing verbally playing ping pong with her. Yeah, well, maybe he did this. Yeah, what do you think? It would never come up and go, I want you to, he gave ownership to the actors. This is how cool this direction is. His first direction was he made a soundtrack for every character specific to their character and said, basically, here's your homework. Go listen to this cassette, I think it was at the time, of the soundtrack for your character. So you're riding around Friday night, hanging out at the dead end, getting high, having beers with your folks, listening to a badass soundtrack going, I'm doing my homework. But that direction did not tell any of us what to do because nobody wants to be told what to do. But it put us in a space to go, oh yeah, okay. This is where I live. Why do I like that band? Let me go listen to some more songs from that band, et cetera, et cetera. So that was some of the coolest lessons I got from that.
That's amazing. A Time to Kill, which was the one that I felt.
I mean, this is To Kill a Mockingbird, right?
Yes. This was the one that broke you out mainstream. You were the guy. You were the superstar. A Time to Kill, man. When I saw you in that movie, I mean, first of all, obviously the book was massive. And everybody had read the book, but there is a lot of pressure when you have such a great book that is so beloved by the audience that it's like, I hope they don't fuck this up. Yep. I felt that you guys nailed it. It was you, Chris Cooper, Samuel L. Jackson, but you were the guy, and that established you as the guy. What was your best memory from that film?
Best memory from that. Let me go back to something Joel Schumacher, the now late Joel Schumacher, said to me continually. Look, I understood. I was aware that I was now the lead in a major studio picture that was based off a very successful book. But I felt very confident with my man. And I was just like, just go knock down, be true to your guy, your character, your man every day, and it'll add up. You know what I mean? And then I knew things like, hey, the final summation better fucking work. Because if that doesn't work, if that's not convincing, the whole movie doesn't have the punch or the impact, right? So I remember tabbing that, being aware, even at that age, that early year of my acting, of tabbing that and going, put a flag this. You don't have to do extra on this, but you better be able to tell the truth on this scene, or it's not, your whole performance isn't going to work, much less the movie's not going to work as well. But every time I would get sort of heady, remember, I hadn't taken any acting classes. I just had instincts for it. Every time I get kind of heady about, I think my character, Joel Schumacher would put his hands on my shoulders and go, Matthew, you are Jake Brigance. That's why I cast you. You're him. Best things you could tell a young actor. coming into a lead role, who's carrying a movie. You're him. Don't think about it. Just how do you feel about it? It was so simple, but genius direction. And it's the only thing he said to me the entire time. Tell you this great moment, though. We get to the day of the final summation. I've been preparing for this scene. Before the scene, I took a walk with myself, and I was reading The Greatest Salesman in the World, this paperback that I'd take with me. And I went and I read Scroll 2. I don't know if I've ever even told this story. I read Scroll 2. I would greet this day with love in my heart. And part of it is I would look in everybody's eyes I see, and without saying it, say I love you to them and see what happens. Well, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but I tried to do it for a full day. It's hard to do for an hour. It's hard to do for 30 minutes. But I read that scroll, and the sun came out from behind a cloud, hit me on the face, and I sat there and just kind of prayed, got poised, came back in. Joel came in. And as you know, with scenes, what do you want to do when you have an actor who's going to have a big scene? Well, let's shoot the jury and everybody else, the wide shots, let you warm up, and then we'll come in and get on you. As he was saying that, I kind of went over and I couldn't look him in the eye because I was in my zone. And I just kind of tapped him, and he looked at me, and I just went like on me, close up.
Yeah.
And he saw that. Without saying a word, he goes, and no, what we're going to do, everybody, is we're going to come in here close, get this 2 cameras set up in here. We're going for the close up on Jake. And I just paced. And all of a sudden, next thing I knew, he just looked over and he was like, whenever you're ready. And the take that's in the movie was the very first take. That was it.
Really?
Nailed it. Done. Move on.
Wow.
That's incredible. Contact.
Contact's a big one too that you want to get right, not because it's a true story, but because that's Carl Sagan, right? I mean, I don't know what you guys in the audience know about this man, but the Cosmos series, and he was one of the really early. I mean, his story. I don't know if you've seen the new Cosmos that Seth MacFarlane produced with his wife, with Anne. It tells the story in the beginning of how Neil deGrasse Tyson was actually at a symposium at the Hayden Planetarium and met Sagan there. Bad rainstorm, he couldn't get home, so Sagan came and picked him up from the train station, brought him back for dinner and stuff. And Neil deGrasse Tyson eventually went on to succeed him at the Hayden Planetarium.
Really?
It's a crazy fucking story.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Anyways, Contact, great movie.
Yeah.
Great book.
Jodie Foster, what was your memory from that? What's your best memory from that?
Well, so I'm coming off of Time to Kill. I'm now famous. I'm now, a week before Time to Kill, there's 100 scripts out there I want to do. 99 of those scripts are no, you can't. Then A Time to Kill opens, all of a sudden out of 100 of those scripts, 99 of those are yes, you can. And I'm like, wait a minute. 48 hours ago, I would have done any of these. And now you're telling me I can do all of them? What the fuck? You want me to ask myself what I want to do now? So I headed off and, monastery, went to Peru and went on some walkabouts with myself so I could hear my damn self think and get my head and heart aligned. I remember writing down to myself in the journal, I wanted to do a story and be a part of stories that I thought would be, as I termed them at the time, philanthropic. I had always I wrote a story in college about how science is the practical pursuit of God. And again, going back to things that we make contradictions, science and God. And I was like, they're not a contradiction, man. Hang on a second. And I never believed they were or should be. And so when that came, I remember going to, before I got the offer, I went to go meet with Zemeckis and Jodie, and I brought all those college papers and started going like, this is why I play the believer in the story, the believer in God in the story to her science. And I said, man, I wrote this college paper called John Wayne Goes West, and it was based on that. And I remember it was like an academic class and went on and I don't know if it was what Zemeckis, it definitely wasn't what he thought he was going to get in the meeting, but it definitely showed him that I was the guy for the role and got cast. And I was like, this is a story that will be good for humanity. This is a good story to share with humanity. And I got hit up on that many times, like going, and at the time, what they called it, oh, you took the girl's role. Jodie Foster's the lead, because I was getting offered a lot of leads.
Yeah.
And I turned them all down because I was like, this is a story I want to be a part of that I think is a good message to get out there. And I remember That and Amistad, which followed,
Yep.
were two that I was like, these are philanthropic. These are stories that need to be shared. These are perspectives that need to be shared that I'd be honored to be a part of.
Yeah, and since you brought up Amistad, it is one of those things where you are the guy, right? So everybody's expecting you to be the lead in every single thing going forward. Taking a movie like that, did you take heat from your reps at all? Or were they like, hey, man, it's Spielberg. This is a potential Oscar movie. Like, you got to do it, and we're fine with it?
No heat. I mean, again, though, I never had a relationship with agents where I was asking their permission. And I think they understood that as well throughout my career. No, I didn't. I mean, it was honorable pedigree and honorable storytelling and honorable subject matter. And, you know, if they were asking, you know, well, why'd you turn this other lead down where you get to be more of the, I don't know, handsome man or whatever. They didn't say it out loud to me.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I'm curious, because after that, then you started going on a tear of rom-coms, which were amazing, by the way. You know, you got The Wedding Planner, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, all that other stuff. What was it like being the rom-com guy for a while? You've had so many different careers. Right. It's hard to pin you down to one thing, to be honest with you. What was your memory from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
I could tell that Kate and I had a jive going. I could tell that Kate and I had that sling. I could tell that it felt vital. Hopefully it was going to feel like, I don't know. It had a certain sexiness to it that was fun. But I remember realizing early on in the making of How to Lose a Guy, I was like, oh, you know what? What the audience could enjoy, hopefully they will, which they ended up enjoying, is it's an interactive movie, and good rom-coms do this with the audience, meaning boy meets girl, then they start to play on each other, right? And I played a guy who thinks I've got my complete shit together and I'm going to dupe her, and the audience sees that. Now the audience gets a kick out of laughing at me because they got to see the scene where she's actually scheming me and going to trump my gesture, right? So it's fun to go, look at Cocksure, this character, McConaughey thinks he's going to he doesn't know what he's up for. Then vice versa. She's over on the scene saying, oh, I can't wait to do this. But the audience got to see a scene that she didn't get to see of me scheming where I'm going to dupe her. So there's this three-way interaction in that rom-com that I think really worked for audiences to be able to. And then that's where I learned this lesson in acting. People don't want to see the person who, after they get through the obstacle, what's fun is to watch the character try to get their balance when they're thrown off balance, try to hold their grease when actually things aren't going the way, try to make some order out of a chaotic situation. They don't like the result. So if you don't have a real obstacle, that's where I learned, if you don't have a real obstacle that you actually give credit to and actually have to try and get over, and because sometimes you see actors, and I've done it myself, you just blow right through the obstacle and act like it's no big deal. Well, that's no fun. You want in that movie, they want to see me squirm. They want to see her squirm. And then obviously come back to what every romantic comedy does at the end, and you all know it's going to happen. Just hopefully every rom-com has done it in a little bit of different way that makes it an enjoyable ride to do it. Boy's going to chase girl somewhere, catch her, and they're going to be together, and the credits going to roll. You know that's happening in every single rom-com.
Yeah.
You know? Just how do you make it a little bit different, hopefully where they can enjoy the ride of getting there.
Well, the cool part for dudes is we finally had a guy that we were like, all right, cool. We'll go and see the rom-com with the girl. Like McConaughey's in it. Well, we're good.
Well, cool. Let me tell you about that, man, because you can get emasculated in a rom-com.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning in that third act where boy comes back to girl, they're usually written that boy comes back to girl crawling, basically begging her to take him back, or else I'm lost and I'm nobody unless you do. And I remember early on going, what fucking girl wants that guy? And I had many a battle with those directors and producers going, guys, I'll come back. I got no problem saying I'm sorry. but I got to come back with dignity. I have to come back with some sense of self-identity. I can't just completely lay over and go, take me back or all is naught. I don't think that's romance, guys. I think that's going to have a lot of people going, well, geez, man, come on. What's wrong with the dude? Stand up for yourself a little bit, So I remember having those battles, and hopefully, to whatever capacity, I was able to at least have the boy come back at the end with some dignity or sense of self, and not just completely crawling, saying, "I'm nobody without you." But sure would like to go with you,
Yeah, because you got all the dudes into that one.
Yeah, and you're known for battling too. I mean, as Rick Peck in Tropic Thunder, nobody's battled harder for their client than Rick Peck.
The TiVo.
I mean, fucking relentless. I would say, here's what I want. Please make this happen. I'll do anything you want. 5-season series on HBO of you and Les Grossman. Tom Cruise is Les Grossman, and you guys are just running a talent agency or a production company together or something like that. I want to see Les Grossman and Rick Peck on screen for 5 seasons. That's it.
Same. You couldn't make that movie today, do you think?
No, well.
Oh, you could, but I mean, you get slammed in different ways. I mean, I'm with you. Ben and Tom, I think, continue to work on a Les Grossman. I don't believe there's any Rick Peck in that, but I know they've dabbled with taking that character into being the lead.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But you can't have a Les Grossman, the anti-hero, without the relentless good guy, right? That's trying to keep him, on like true north. That's his guy pulling him back to true. Because it's not going to be the sycophants on his staff. It's going to be somebody outside pulling him back, right? You have to keep it somewhat reasonable. And that's Rick Peck to me. So if you're out there, Ben, make it happen.
Make it happen. Magic Mike, I heard a extra tore off your thong and tried to grab your dick during the movie. Is that true?
In the shot, she didn't know. That was her plan. So I pulled a roll out 4 inches. Her hand was about 4 inches away from my member before I rolled out of it, and I felt it. I was going, and I because I'm on the end of the back. I'm on the end of the stage. I'm on my back. I've got my pelvis in the air. Rock and roll's going on. Playing Dallas, da 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 da. And then, their hands are coming out, and then you could feel which one was like a really confident hand that was going like, oh no, here I'm going. And I felt this one girl's hand move, and then she just went, and just as she went, I just kind of stayed in motion, slid my hand up, whoop, pushed it off, rolled that left, gonna keep on dancing, got away. Yep, got away with that one. Okay, whoo, yeah.
They call that what is it? Me Too Jiu-Jitsu, I think.
Yeah, Me Too Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, you gotta stay out of that bullshit.
But the other part of it is, as an extra, they're getting like $150 a day. That's her shot. Shooter's got to shoot in that case.
I was like, because before I went out, in Dallas, as Dallas, I was like, I'm bringing it. Are you going to bring it? I mean, I was calling them to arms, going, we don't need to be going, let's go, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm out there breathing freaking fire, man. I'm going, let's rock and roll here. And so, no, it was all, it was all in good fun, man.
Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street. You only had, small scene, but God damn it, did it leave an impact forever. Was that improv with the
Yeah. That's something I'll do, not that necessarily tune, but I make up soundtracks for all my characters. And
that's something you learned from your first film, I guess, right? With
bingo, exactly. So I'll make a soundtrack for my character, and then I'll have a particular tune or rhythm for each scene within that soundtrack. And the literal move of banging my chest to whatever tune before a scene, that's something I've done before, and it's a relaxation technique. It does a few things. It gets you, you hit yourself hard. It gets, because you're nervous. I'm on set. I'm working with Scorsese and DiCaprio. First day on set. They've been working together for months, worked together years before. I'm stepping in. How do you get to be, part of the engine, part of the machine, and in the frequency of the flow it and take care of my man here. So I'm banging on my chest to, 1, calm my nerves, 2, lower my voice, because you get a little anxious, your voice goes up a little higher. You know what I mean? So it's like getting in the cold. So let's heat up here. Let's lather up. And it also does another cool thing. It makes the whole crew go, fuck is he doing? which puts you on an island. Which as an actor, I want to feel like I'm on an island. I want to feel like, okay, I'm the underdog. I'm the outcast. I have to work my way out of this in the scene and stamp my identity. And so it's putting it on me a little bit to put myself on an island. And so I was doing it before the scene, and then all of a sudden they'd yell action, and I'd stop and I'd go, all right, so, and I'd start the scene. Well, we do it about 4 or 5 times. We got the scene. We've nailed it. We're moving on. And Leonardo's the one that raises his hand and goes, hey, Marty, hang on a second. He goes, what's that thing you're doing before the scene? And I go, and I told him what I just told you. And he goes, what if you put that in the scene? I was like, yeah. And then Leonardo goes, one more. And so I start the scene. I'm doing it before the scene, start the scene. I'm already doing it, right? So then I come out of it and I start my whole spiel of what stockbrokering is and what stock market is to this young man who's, wanting to know what the game is. And at the end of it, I don't know, it's like 6-7 minutes long. I finish my spiel. I kind of get the sense that you got it. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as I feel that he's got it, it comes in my head, well, now go bookend it, go back to the rhythm, which means I can get him to do it with you, which means simpatico. Okay, we've handed off the baton. You understand what I'm saying? Capiche? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There we go. Come on. So then we start doing that. And that was the scene. And that first take we did it. That's what.
You know what I'm hearing here is very interesting. After I mentioned The Last Dance with Jordan a minute ago, right? Mm-hmm. What I'm hearing is the same kind of thought process where you're even if you're creating like not even real internal challenges for yourself, right? To get you to the place that you need to be where you feel like you're the best. That's what you do, and you've got the discipline to do it each time. That's the difference between good and great, in my opinion. And never have we seen it outlined more than in that Jordan doc, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just the way he thinks about going about his everyday life. He understands that he's unpopular in some ways because of it.
And talking to you today, like you have the same passion for your craft that not a lot of people do. Like you move to LA, you think, I'll be famous. But what does that entail, being a famous actor? Are you going to be great at it, or are you just going to be famous? Hearing your stories today, clearly you wanted to be one of the best of all time.
Well, you got to ask. I think we got to ask ourselves that question all the time. Who's wagging who? What comes first?
Right.
I mean,
dog or the tail. Yeah.
So, it's okay. It's so fine. You can get famous and not be great at your craft. Usually, it can last 15 minutes. Hopefully our industry is still a place that, you're famous for a reason, and you can be famous for longer because you're really good at what you freaking do. Competence is if a craft is understood. And, we got to watch that in our industry now. What's where are things measured for competence, or where is it measured for, well, let's be reactionary to the times or what have you. It's interesting in art because art's not like sports. Sports is a clear winner. 100-yard dash, who crosses first wins. Yep, you got it. You're the most competent. Art's a little more subjective, but there's definitely sort of some rules and regulations for can we go that was really great work, or that was a great performance, or that was a great movie. Was it technically great? Was the story told well? But that's still, that's a moving target for art and for our industry in Hollywood. Fame's been very good to me. I hope I've been good to it.
You're one of those rare people though who is actually good at being famous. A lot of people get famous and they have a different idea of what it is to be famous, and then they hate it and they shun it, right?
Well, it's not easy when people want stuff from you all the time, and a lot of people buckle under that pressure to be real. I mean, I see that happen all the time.
But it didn't happen to you.
No.
Why is that?
Well, maybe that it wasn't number one on my priority list of what I valued the most and what I was chasing. And I found that you can get, if you have an innate work ethic, all right, and some dignity, and a sense of dignity with yourself, I think we are better at certain things when they are not number one on our list. Actually, I became a better actor after I became a father, when that became number one on the list. When acting became number 2 and number 3, I trusted that. That didn't mean I was going to get complacent or not give a shit or not work as hard. No, I'm going to work just as hard, but I don't don't have to have it.
What do you think that might be like something like the shower principle, where your frontal cortex is kind of distracted so the rest of your brain can do the work best that it can do without distractions from what's going on around you?
I call it the driving.
Yeah.
You're performing a motor skill with your foot on a pedal, maintaining a certain speed, but you hadn't thought about it.
Right.
Your hands are on a wheel, you're staying in the lane, but you hadn't really thought about it. And it freaks you up to,
Right.
I'll purchase that equation you're bringing up. There's something about it. And, you can't just you have to watch it, because you can't just throw that on anybody. Because somebody that doesn't have a good work ethic is going to go, oh, if it's like third priority, well, then fuck it, I'm going to slough. Well, no, that's not
yeah, right, exactly.
You got to treat it like work is hard. You start doing the right kind of work too, the right kind of hard work, the constructive kind of hard work at it when you have something else. You could say that, in religious terms. Many people are better individuals because they consider themselves number two under their God, in that humility. But also with work, I became a better actor when it wasn't like, I have to have it for my identity. Now, mind you, it is a lot of my identity. But when I had children, that's like, okay, when the rubber really meets the road, when the house is about to burn down, you taking your fame and your career, you taking the kids. They're number one priority. I didn't have to even intellectualize it. It instinctually becomes number one. So when that became a priority and my values changed, I found that I became better and took more risks as an actor, took more radical challenges, dove into deeper waters where I didn't know what the hell I was getting into, but saying, I can't wait to find out. Let's bring it on. Became much more courageous too with choices in my career.
Yeah, I mean, one of them is True Detective here, and this will be the last one that I ask you about. You've got so many amazing movies here.
It is the best single season of television in history, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
never seen it better. You and Woody on camera together is the best thing I've ever seen.
And the reason I wanted to bring it up today is I feel like at this time when this came out, there wasn't a bunch of huge movie stars that were taking TV shows where that is happening now. And with theaters almost near death here at this point with what Warner Brothers did and Disney and et cetera, I have a feeling a lot more huge movie stars are going to go back into television. You set the gold standard. Dan and I talk about this first season of True Detective all the time. I mean, it is a masterpiece. What was the decision behind that?
Yeah, and I'm with you. I miss it, man. I missed that show. I watched it like everybody else. I had it all. I had the screener. I had the whole season, but I said, no, every Sunday night after we put the kids to bed, we're going to get that bottle of wine, honey, and we're going to go in and watch it. And I was involved in the Monday morning water cooler talk like everybody else. I was like, did you see that shit last night? I was, because I didn't know I'd purposely forgotten where the episode breaks were. So I was watching, going, whoa, and I loved it and miss it. So that comes along, and yes, it's TV, and you're right. Not a lot of actors in me and Woody's position were going into television at that time, but it was much less taboo than maybe it used to be. But it was still sort of taboo. I remember reading it, and they offered me the role of Marty Hart. They offered me Woody's role, to which I understood why they offered me, but I called him back and said, the dude who I can't wait to turn the page to hear what the fuck comes out of his mouth, this guy Rustin Cole, man. This has got fangs and fire, man. I go, you give me Rustin Cole, I'm in. Well, they paused. Nick Pizzolatto and them, I think they went and watched some Killer Joe or something. I mean, because they were like, ooh, McConaughey for Rustin Cole. I didn't think that, right? And then they said yes. So then I go, okay, now let me unpack this, talk to my agent. And I remember going, do you have any concern that this is on TV? Because I don't. And he goes, me neither. And I said, what I've been chasing is content, story, and character. And I don't give a damn what screen it's on. I think I'm right. Just chase that. Jake, this is hot shit, man. Let's go after this. I don't care. So we talked about, is there something we should even, discuss about it being on a small screen for about 8 seconds. Other than that, it was like, bam. Then I was like, I'm in. Let's go.
I'm curious as to your thoughts of Woody Harrelson, what he said afterward, where he said, hey, I did not enjoy working with Matthew McConaughey on that because I didn't know Matthew McConaughey on that. I only knew the character he was playing every day.
Yeah.
And it was
because you guys seem like two guys that would hang out in real life a lot, to be
so
honest.
we thought you guys were partying.
One of my best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys seem like you fucking would have been high school friends and just never left each other that whole time.
Here's the thing with me and Woody. So Woody and I have worked together 3 times, and we hang out whenever we can in real life. And he and I get together, man, and then it becomes hard to know where I start and Woody ends, and Woody starts and I end, and we're going, and it's comedy, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's drama, it's comedy. Well, we get on that, and I've got my man Rustin Cole, and Woody's comes up about a week before production. We've been doing rehearsals and stuff, or I don't know if we rehearsed or not. Anyway, we've been working on the script, and maybe we were already shooting some, but he's seeing what I'm doing as Rustin Cole, and he's like, "Buddy, I think you know, what's going on?"
He starts to worry about
it. I mean, I think we need a little levity in this thing. And I'm just straight facing, like Rustin Cole. He's like, "See, you're doing it. You're doing it again, man. You're doing it to me right now. This is me, Woody. We're offset. We're having a conversation." He's like, "Look, how you and I work is I hit the ball to you, you hit the ball back to me, I hit the ball back, and we go back and forth. But now I'm hitting you the first ball, and you're just standing there, and the tennis ball is going past you, hitting the back fence, and coming to a stop, and you're still just staring at me. What the fuck?" And I was like, and I remember telling him this. I going like. And my hunch, Woody, is that over time, through the episode, that may actually be funny.
It is. You can seriously read the exasperation and frustration on his face, particularly in those scenes where you guys are driving around in the car together and you're just saying fucked up, nihilistic shit. And he's like, "God damn, dude. Can I get something for fuck's sake?"
Oh, it was so much fun because he would get so, and it worked, because he was getting exasperated with me. And like, what the fuck, man?
So the story of True Detective is you trolling Woody Harrelson for 8 episodes, basically. I like it, man. I'm into it. I like it.
Oh, it was fantastic. This is the point in the show we get to the Drinkin Bro of the week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. Who would you like to give the Drinkin Bro of the week to?
Oh, Drinkin Bro. Hey, Pop. Yes, sir. My dad. Oh, he was a good man to have a beer with. He loved to host, loved to tell stories, loved to have fun. He'd be cooking a pot of gumbo right now. He would go, we had a lake house, and we would have a Super Bowl party at the lake house. He would load up about 5 cases of Miller Lite and his ingredients for gumbo, because he's from Louisiana, and go to the lake house in a pair of these baby blue yellow shorts, and a t-shirt, and flip-flops 4 days before the Super Bowl he'd start the roux. He'd start the cooking that night. And you weren't allowed to come out the first 2 days, but then you could go out. And I mean, 4 days later, he's still in those same baby blue shorts, same flip-flops, same t-shirt. His dream was to, if he could ever hit a lick, as he called it in business, he was a pipe salesman, to have a shack on this beach in Navarre Beach, Florida, that sold Miller Lite in a can, oysters on a half shell, and a bowl of his gumbo. And those 3 things are the only thing on the menu. That's my bro.
That's a great life. That's a great life. You talk a lot about him in the book. This is one of the rare occasions on this show where I'm actually going to give a Drinkin Bro of the week, and I want to give it to you. You were the first A-list celebrity that I had met when I moved to Los Angeles. I had gotten a job at Staples Center because I couldn't get an agent. I'd sent out 1 million headshots and resumes and all that stuff. And I got one call back, and it said, "Hey, are you really 6'3"? I said, "Yeah." And the agent goes, "Well, you're too tall for car commercials," and then hung up the phone. So I had to reassess where I was going to meet agents. And the Staples Center had just opened up. The forum was closing. And the very first night I worked was in a box that I traded with a girl who said, "Hey, I've got, I think, a bank. It's called ICM." She goes, "Who do you have?" And I had Ice Cube, which was the box next to it. She goes, "Oh my God, I love Ice Cube." And I was like, "Great, I will take that bank that you have," knowing how big that agency was. You were in that box that night for Bruce Springsteen, who opened up Staples Center. And I got to hang out with you, smokes some weed, drinks 3 fingers of tequila in a glass. And then at the end of it, it was just you and I in the box. And you talked to me for a half hour, just the two of us, after Springsteen had left stage, everything. And you said, hey, man, you're really funny. What do you want to do in life? And I said, I want to be an actor. For a half hour, you broke down to me everything that I needed to do, everything that you were going through, and everything that I should expect. And no one would ever give a young actor the time of day at that point in their career. And then at the end of it, you said, I want to give you everything I have in my wallet, and I want you to use this to go and chase your dreams. You opened up your wallet, and you just pulled out all of the money that was in there and handed it to me. It ended up being $387 in cash, which was the greatest tip ever. And I had just moved to Los Angeles. And I called my parents the next day, and I said, you know what? I met Matthew last night, and he was one of my favorites. And I think I can make it out here. I think I can do something. Now, I never achieved the level of fame that you have, obviously. But I made a pretty goddamn good life for myself. And it was your guidance when I got there that is probably unbeknownst to you, and I wanted to thank you on the show today.
That is badass. That's cool reciprocity right there, man. Appreciate that. That's wonderful. Like I said, you just gave me a poem I forgot I wrote.
Which is brought up in your book. Please check out Green Lights. It is available everywhere you can get books. Amazon. It'll be a perfect gift for Christmas. The audiobook is out now, and you can download that immediately. It is the finest audiobook of all of 2020.
It is, and you're going to want to check out Wild Turkey Long Branch if you can find it anywhere.
If you can find it sold out. Well, if you live in Austin, I have a feeling it's because of you that it's sold out in Austin.
That's probably true, yeah.
Yeah.
Good juice.
It is good juice.
Great juice. Cheers. Thank you for doing the show, Matthew. It's an unbelievable honor for us, and we greatly appreciate it. Enjoy wherever you are today, sir.
I will, man. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Look forward to the next time.
Cheers. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin Bros. Good night, everyone.